Hello friends, thanks for watching my videos. In yesterday's video, I have shown you a very simple program which contained a lot of vulnerabilities, and then we fuzzed it using AFL. So as you can see in the previous video, we have found a lot of crashes with AFL. And so in today's video, I'm going to show you two things. First one is how do we analyze crashes, and second thing, how do we find root cause of a vulnerability. So we'll start with the first one, which is how do we triage crashes. And so the question comes here is that why do we need to triage crashes? And so the problem here is that when you fuzz a software, now chances are that you either get very few crashes or you get lot of crashes. And lot of crashes, I mean you may get like hundred or thousands of crashes. And when you fuzz a real world software, you don't run only one AFL core. Basically, you try to utilize a multi-core system. If you have like 8 core on your machine, then you will run 8 instances of AFL with one master and 7 slaves. So that will generate lot of crashes, and it is not possible for each individual to go through each and every crash and analyze them manually. So for that, there are some tools which are available which we can use them, and that can actually try crash on our behalf. So one of such tool is called Crashwalk. It is a very popular tool, and I personally use this tool to triage my crashes. So in this video, I'm going to show you how do we use Crashwalk, how do we install that, and what are the binaries it comes with, and how do we triage crashes using that. And then in the second part of this video, we will see how do we use GDB to analyze some simple crashes. So let's start. So to install a Crashwalk, you need to go to its GitHub site, and that is actually, I will open it over here so that we can install it together. The site is Crashwalk AFL. I will just Google it, and here it is. So as you can see over here, it's written in Go language, and so we need to make sure that we have installed Golang on our system. So let's make sure that we have installed Golang. So if you're not installed Go language on your system, what you can do is you can run this simple command, that is sudo apt install Golang. And okay, so it seems that I have already installed Golang on my system, so I don't need to worry. If you are not installed, just follow this command and Golang will be installed on your system. Now let's go and see what does it contains. So you can see that there are installation instruction over here, and it says that we need to install Go, which we have already done. Then the second instruction said that for Linux we need to install exploitable tool over here. So let's go and see what is that. And it also mentions that this code expects this tool at this particular location. I think this has been hard coded in that. So we need to make sure that we copy and paste, or we git clone our exploitable tool, which is over here, to this particular location in our system. So what you can do over here is that you can copy the git URL over here. You can go to your system, and as the Crashwalk expect this to be at a particular location, so let's go to that location. So that location is your home directory. Then you need to go to source, and here you can do git clone and that URL for the exploitable. So okay, so I have already downloaded it in my folder, so it should be there. So if it's not installed on your system, what you can do is just create a directory named src on your home directory, and then go to that directory and run this git clone command. So it will download exploitable.py on your system, and I think this should be sufficient for us. Now moving on to next step, what we need to do is that we need GDB. So GDB, if you don't have installed on your system, simply type sudo apt install GDB, And okay, so GDB I also have on my system. So if you don't have, just run this command sudo apt install GDB and you should be good to go. Fourth step is only for Mac, so we are going to skip that. Fifth is also for Mac, so let's skip that. And now this is the command to install Crashwalk. So let's copy this URL, and since you have Go language installed on your system, let's go and run it. So let's see what happens. We need to wait for some time. Okay, and it will download this Crashwalk and install it in your home directory inside Go folder. So let's go to Go folder over here in your home directory, and when you see it contains different directories, so the executable should be inside your bin directory. So as you can see, there are three executable. One is cwtriage, which will be using in this video to analyze and triage crashes, cwfind, which will be used to search for various hashes, and cwdump is the file which will dump all the triage crashes details from the database. So what happens here is that when you run cwtriage to triage your crashes, it creates a database file which is called crashwalk.db, and it saves all the results, all the crash detail like call stack and everything inside this db file, and then later on you can use this cwdump utility to dump all the crashes from your database. So I will be walking you through that. So now that we have Crashwalk installed on our system, what we can do is we can add this binary to our path, so that we just run cwtriage or any of this command. We don't need to give this full path over here. So let's do it. So we can do it simply by export path, and our path to bin directory, go bin. So that is, in my case, is this, and then you can do combine it with path. So now just confirm. Let's see, echo path, and you can see that it is over here. So now I can simply use cwtriage from anywhere. Now when you run cwtriage, you can see that it expects couple of options. So one of them is -afl, and what happens is that when you give this option afl, you don't need to give anything else. So if you are using this option, you can simply just give a command something like cwtriage and afl, and you can give a root directory over here, and where you can give root directory entry. So what it will do is it will go to this particular directory, it will search for afl folders, and if it finds the afl folder, it will go to the crashes folder, and it will search for readme.txt file, and as you know, readme.txt file will contains the afl command which we are used to fuzz. So I will go to the directory and I will show you. That will be easy for us. So here I am. Okay, so our output directory is this, and you can see that it contains a lot of crashes over here. Just 1 minute. You can see it contains around 8 crashes over here. So now if I want to try all these crashes, I can either do it manually or I can use cwtriage. So let's use cwtriage over here, and so the command line for that will be cwtriage afl option. Then we will do root. So we need to give the path of root. So in this case I am giving you as a output, because output is the folder which contains all my afl data. So before that, you can see that there is one readme.txt file, and if you open that file or if you read that file, you can see that it contains the command output crashes readme.txt. So if you see, it actually contains the command with the memory limit and everything. It's over there. So this is the command input directory, output directory, memory limit is none. This is our first executable file, and then parameter. So now what cwtriage or Crashwalk is able to do is that it when you give this command as I will give it again, cw tries. When you give AFL option over here, and if you give root directory over here, it will go to this root directory, it will search AFL files over there, and if it finds any crashes directory, and if it will open readme.txt file, and from that it will extract this command, it will extract this memory limit, it will extract this executable file name, and suppose if your binary is expecting certain parameter which you are giving over here, so it will extract that automatically from this file, and then it will take each of this crash file, and it will use this command, and it will see if it is causing any crash. So in our case the command is very simple. What we need to do to replicate is that we need to just use our executable file, and we need to take this file and we just need to give it as an input. So I will simply show you how do we try this with cw try. So let's press enter over here, and since I have already run it once time, so I need to delete crashwalk.db, and now it will work. So now let's see. So you can see that it is trying crashes, but it was not getting replicated. It says no crash detected. Alright. See, for the I think 4 or 5 output, it said no crash, and for rest of the file it found some crashes. So the reason for this is that since we have compiled our executable with asn and amps ubsan, if we don't give asn flag, then our crashes will not get replicated. So for this we need to give asn option over here, and asn option are very simple. So I will just show you which option we are giving here. So let's run this file again with this option. So this is the asn option. It says abort on error 1 and symbolize is equal to 0, and now we will again run cw try. We will give it AFL option, and we will see root directory as output. And since we have already run this okay, since we already run it before, what we need to give is that we need to give a scene flag over here. So what it will do is it will again include all the files which it has already analyzed in the previous run over here, right, where we are not able to see any crashes over here. So if you add this scene flag, it will again take these files over here, and it will again analyze them, it will again replicate that. So let's see now. So you know the command now. The command is AFL SN option. You need to give SN options followed by CW tries, AFL, then scene, then root, and the location of the folder. So let's see what happens now. As you can see, it started crashing. So in the previous run where we are not given ASN option, it was not crashing. Now it was started finding crashes. Now generally what I do over here is that I simply use cw dump. This is another utility which comes with crashwalk. So we use this utility, and we need to give database name over here, which is crashwalk.db. This is a default name, and you can see all the crashes. So I generally you can either do it more, and you can go through each crashes one by one. Here you can see that the first crash, it is identify crash ID 3 or so the generally I generally redirect the output to one text file, which I can use it later on using vi. So let's see what happens in that. So you can see that the first crash it has analyzed was with id 3, and this is the disassembly around that crash, and this is the call stack. So as you can see, there is a malloc call over here, and it might be a large malloc fail. Then second file is id 4. This is disassembly, this is call stack, this is again malloc. So it might be related to integer overflow or integer underflow. As I shown you in previous video, we'll analyze it again. Third one is in memcopy, and that file is id 7. And Fourth one is again fourth one, we don't have details over here. Okay, and you can see that it has used this exploitable script and it gives this as an exploitable. Classification is exploitable over here. So we will analyze this further. And yeah, so there are total 4 unique crashes which it has found, and you can see that there is one crash, only there is one crash with this particular call stack. And you can go over here, you can see that there is one crash with this call stack over here. There is again one crash with this, and you can see that there are total of 5 crashes with the following call stack and details. So basically there are 5 duplicates, and it will not show you all the duplicates. What it will do is it will simply take one of this file, because the rest are all are duplicates, so we don't need to go through that. So we'll use this file. And now let's go and see how do we debug these crashes, how do we find root cause using GDB. So for that I will go over here, I will close this and clear. Let's start. So we'll take first of this crash, copy and paste over here. You can see that it is crashing. So now let's debug it using GDB. For GDB, what we need to give is simply GDB image read, and you can see that GDB has started. So we can simply use the command R, and we can give the path of the file, which is okay, can manually give it over here, output crashes, then ID, this one is 3, I will again copy over here, field selection. Okay, and you can see that it is crashing over at line 36 at image read.c. So what we can do is let's put a breakpoint over here at line 36 original. You can also keep it at 35. So, and let's run it again. Okay, so you can see that our breakpoint has triggered. You can see header contains this, width is this, height is this, these are negative numbers, and then size 1 is equal to width plus height. So let's see what the size contains. We can use p size 1. Right now it is not shown. That's okay. I have not made a debug build. I will modify my make file. Anyway, let's move to the next step, and now let's print size 1 again. So it's give this number which is negative. Now as you can see, what is happening over here is that since width and height both are negative, the result and when you add to negative number, their result will be negative, and so this has become a very large number over here, but it's negative. So when you give a negative value to malloc, what will happen is that allocation will fail. So there will not be any allocation over here, and so when you try to allocate, this actually becomes a very large number, and when you try to allocate it, asn will kicks in and it will say that requested allocation is too large, allocation size too big, so this will crash over here. So the root cause for this issue, as you can see, was that the width and height both were negative numbers, and you are passing a very large value to malloc, and so asins prevents you from allocating that much amount of memory. So that's why the program was crashing over here. Now let's go and see how do we fix this issue. So the crash was occurring at number 36, line number 36. So let's go and see our code, and we'll see how do we fix this. So at line 36 you can see, okay, in line 35 you can see that the addition width and height are getting added, and the result is getting saved in size 1. Now first thing to check here will be that if size you are declaring as integer, then its value should not be more than 7f because if it goes more than that, the number will be negative. That is what happening in this case. And another check you can add over here is that if malloc returns null, then you should not go further because it may cause an issue later on. So in our case, we are failing at malloc itself, but in many cases, what happens is that size becomes 0 or it becomes some minimal bytes like 0, 1, 2, 3, maybe under 10, under 20, and then later on in your program you copy lot of data which is more than the size of buffer, so it causes heap overflow over here. So this is another issue I have found in a lot of software programs. So this was a root cause, and this is how you fix the issue. You can find such issues in almost any software from open source to closed source. You can go and read about various vulnerabilities in about integer overflow, and this will be the root cause you will find. So this is one type of vulnerability, and as you can see, I have modified our program to make it bit harder for AFL to find the crashes now. So previously size 1 we are dividing by 2, and if it was even, then we are freeing the buffer, so which was causing double free over here. And similarly, if I was checking if size 1 is greater than 10, then it was causing use after free error over here. But I have now added some checks to see if size 1 is equal to 5678, then buffer will be freed twice, that will cause double free. And if size 1 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then the program will cause use after free show. So AFL will take some time to find these crashes. You need to wait for some time now. And I have also modified some more stuff over here. So yesterday when I talk about out of bound read, it was stack out of bound read. So I actually added out of bound read for heap and out of bound write for heap as well over here. So I will leave it up to you to figure out why I have added this thing, what will happen. That will be a good learning exercise for you, and so you can go and read about this. I have also added a check for size 3. If it's equal to 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then only it will cause buffer or memory leak over here, otherwise it will not cause. So let's go and see another crash, and let's try to analyze one more root cause, and then we will close this video. So the second crash over here is in mem copy. Yes, this is interesting. So we can see this crash. It is image read. Okay, folder file is 7. So first let's simply run this file, and then we will analyze it. So image read output crashes id 7, and let's see. So you can see that it is a heap buffer overflow over here. Now we need to figure out the root cause for this. So let's again fire up gdb /image read, and now we need to give the file name. So it will be output crashes and id 7. So copy over here and paste, and yes, so you can see that it is crashing over image read.c line 68. So let's put a breakpoint a line before that. So let's put a breakpoint using command b img read.c line 67. Let's make it 65 and run it again. So you can see that there is a malloc call at line 67, and we are getting a crash around line 68 or 69. So let's see the size. What is the size of buffer 4, because that is what stores the malloc. That is what the pointer to the malloc or allocated buffer. So let's print it. So size 3, and you can see the size 3 is 0 over here. So you are passing a 0 value to malloc, and so what will happen? Malloc will not allocate any memory, and there is no check, so buffer 4 is pointing to null, and you are copying some data which you read from our imaginary image file image.data, which is 10 bytes, and so you are trying to copy 10 bytes data to a 0 byte buffer. And so what will happen, it will crash, it will cause a heap overflow. As you can see over here, it crashed, right? So this was the root cause, that you are passing a 0 value to malloc did not allocate it any memory, still you are trying to use memcopy over here. And so let's see how do we fix this issue. Again, I have seen such issues in many softwares, so let's go to line 67 and see what is there. 66, yes. So you can see that buffer 4 is getting allocated over here, and the size 3, which is 0. Now how come size 3 is 0? Let's see. So size 3 is image width and image height. It means that image width must be 0 here in this case, that's why it's becoming 0. And so malloc fails over here, then you do a mem copy. So now what you should do, so first thing, you should add a check for the size. If it's not less than 0, if it's not more than the size of unsigned integer, if size 3 is an integer, sorry, the check should be for if it's it should not be more than the maximum possible value of a signed integer, that is 7ff. Otherwise it will cross it will cause some issue, as we have seen. And second thing you can check over here is that if malloc fails, then you should not do a mem copy, because there is no memory allocated, so you cannot go and just do any mem operation over here. So this will be second check over here. And so the fix will be, yes, just check the size you are passing to malloc, and second fix will be if malloc fails, then you should not be proceeding further with the memory operation. So that is what the root cause of this issue. And yeah, so there are more crashes, but now I will suggest you to run AFL fuzzer at your own. You take this simple example, you compile it, and you run fuzz it. You will see a lot of crashes, and try to debug those crashes. And those crashes, those analysis will help you to learn a lot of things. And once you are comfortable with such basic stuff, you can move to for some real life targets. So in my future videos, I will be showing how to be for some common applications like FFmpeg or AFDQ or other softwares. And yeah, so we'll see. But you need to if you really want to learn fuzzing, and if you really want to uh, 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 find crashes or find vulnerabilities, or you want to get CVs, then you need to spend some time on that. You will not learn it by watching simply my videos. You need to do some practice. So download this file, create one system, create one VM, and do it at your own, and that way you can learn. So if you have any suggestion or comments about my contents, you can always uh, directly contact me. You can post a comment on my YouTube video, you can directly contact me over Twitter, or you can mail me at my mail ID. Yeah, so that's all I had for today. And thank you again for watching my videos. Please like and subscribe my channel. You can also follow me on Twitter, and thank you. Bye.